What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. And in this next Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, one of the major things here is that there's going to be a major boost to the amount of people that will work in the IRS, 80,000 people, if they can actually hire that many people, which would be a major effort to even do that. That would be a serious effort to undertake that many people to get, if it's even possible here. But for one thing, is that they're going to try to hire thousands and thousands of people at the IRS. So this is a double-edged sword. For one, this is going to give about $80 billion in funding to the IRS. What this could mean for taxpayers. Now, this is going to give $80 billion in funding to the IRS, but this is actually going to bring in even more money in revenue because we covered this in a previous video here. When the IRS actually audits large corporations, they bring in millions of dollars per IRS agent, and they actually only were able to audit. It was somewhere around like 50% of large corporations that make billions of dollars because they didn't have enough manpower. So if you think about auditing a corporation like Google or Apple or Nike or all those large corporations, there's hundreds of them. They got to the point where they could only audit around half of them here in recent years because if you wanted to audit, we'll just pick a corporation like Nike, for example. Um, it's not just one person that probably goes in there and audits them. It's probably a team of people. It could be dozens of IRS agents that would have to do it. You'd have to be very knowledgeable. Okay. And not that I'm a fan of the IRS. I don't think anybody's a fan of the IRS here. But you have to be probably the top level of type of knowledge to be able to go through Nike's books. And remember, Nike has a whole team of accountants, okay? And they're trying to get every tax write-off possible that they can and maybe try to squeeze out a little bit more than they should, okay? Which for them is millions and millions and millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars, okay? And when they go into write off these type of things, and when you go to audit, you go through their books, you're talking about thousands of pages of tax returns, okay? And you have to scrutinize every little detail. Think about how long that probably takes. It probably takes months, okay? And it probably takes dozens of IRS agents for one company, okay? Now extrapolate that for hundreds of companies, thousands of companies. And these are just from the large companies that make billions of dollars. Okay. We haven't even talked about auditing people. There's obviously millions of people, there's 30 million people in the United States. This is just for auditing large corporations. Okay. We had a statistic in the previous video that, like, when they actually go to audit large corporations like this, they actually make millions of dollars per IRS agent, but they didn't have enough manpower because the IRS staffing has been cut, at least in regards to auditing corporations. Okay. When you audit people, it's probably the numbers completely. Obviously, they're not making millions of dollars per agent for auditing a person. It's just got to be a completely different number here. But this is kind of where double-edged sword. A lot of people are concerned about this, and this is where it really is. You can let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know because a lot of people are concerned about this. Are they going to be audited? And this is a legitimate concern. In fact, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen here actually says this. Look at this headline. Yeah, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen tells the IRS not to increase middle class audits if it gets more funding. Yeah, so remember, the House of Representatives is going to start the voting here on this today, actually. Today, here on Friday. So if and when they pass this here, Janet Yellen says, IRS, don't increase the middle class audits if it gets more funding. Now, the problem is with the middle class audits is that's the largest group of people. Well, middle and low class are the largest groups of people. So it's probably hard to say that that's not going to happen. So let's just be realists here on this. Let's try not to pick sides. I mean, there is probably going to be people in the middle and low class that get audited more. I mean, that's just how the system works. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told the IRS on Wednesday that if the Inflation Reduction Act becomes law, additional IRS resources should not be used to increase audit rates on taxpayers making under $400,000 a year. She's saying that it shouldn't be used. That doesn't mean it's not going to be used. The legislation, which passed the Senate over the weekend with no Republican support, increases the IRS budget by about $80 billion over 10 years. Democrats say beefing up IRS enforcement will increase tax collection and help pay for $430 billion of the bill, which tackles climate change, lowers prescription drug costs for seniors, among many other provisions. Republicans have criticized the additional funding for IRS tax enforcement, saying the agency will not just focus on wealthier taxpayers, but will also go after middle class families, which is probably true because that's just where the majority of people are, just by the numbers. Janet Yellen told IRS Commissioner Charles Reddick in a letter released by the Treasury Department that any new IRS personnel, quote, shall not be used to increase the share of small business or households below the $400,000 threshold that are audited relative to historic levels. The IRS is a bureau of the Treasury Department. Yellen said, quote, contrary to the misinformation from opponents of this legislation, small business or households earning $400,000 per year or less will not see in increases in the chances that they are audited. So let me know your thoughts on this. What do you think? It's interesting. Now, on the other side of the coin, you can see here that this could bring or probably should or will bring a extra benefit, making your tax refund come on time. I've seen so many comments from people saying that they've been waiting over a year for their tax refund because of how far behind the IRS is. So one thing this will do is this will increase the speed of one, the tax returns, the tax refunds, and two, being able to reach somebody on the phone. So the audit department is actually more complex because when they go into audit somebody and they go through there, you actually need a higher level of an IRS agent to do that. Okay. Where when you get somebody on the phone, you don't need somebody that's, the audit department would actually be probably one of the higher level persons there that would need to scrutinize and go through every little detail of somebody's tax returns. Okay. um, for customer service on the phone, they're going to need to hire thousands and thousands of people there. So if you've had to call the IRS, I have seen probably hundreds of comments of people who said that they've tried to call the IRS and have waited on the phone for hours. And some people said they got through. Some people said they couldn't get through at all. Some people said they had success getting through by calling right as soon as they opened in the morning. Okay, so you could try that trick if you want to try to get through. I've seen some people say that they've tried to get through for weeks and couldn't get through. This is how bad the IRS is. So, and I know that different people's have had different results here. Some people, if you went to go get your tax refund and you were automatically processed, you could have got your refund back in a timely manner if you went through the the way things work is that when you file your tax return, if it goes through the automated system and it comes back automatically, and it goes to the system and nobody has to touch it with a human hand, you can get it back pretty quickly in a matter of weeks. Okay, but where it gets tied up is if there's any type of error at all, you marked one box wrong or anything like that, and a human has to go through it, that's where you run into significant delays. And if you have to call them, well, good luck, because then it's really hit or miss, and more often the miss than not, because they just don't have enough people working there. It's really bad, really bad. So, um, you let me know your thoughts here, and if you read the comment section here, let me know your recent experience with the IRS right now. The vast majority of people have said they have not had a good experience with the IRS in the matter that they can't get through to them. They haven't got their tax refund. It's been months or over a year. I've had people said that they're waiting on their tax refund from 2020. 2020. So, and this is money that's owed to them. So I've seen very few people say that they got audited. And remember that people have been getting audited for years. So if you get audited, it could just be luck of the draw. Remember, they haven't increased any audits at this point yet. So if you got audited, it's really just the luck of the draw, or something was wrong with your tax returns, or you fell under a threshold or something like that. They haven't increased any audits yet. So yeah, I get that it's a double-edged sword. you know, um, in regards to auditing corporations, these large corporations that make billions of dollars, they have whole teams of accountants that know what they're doing. And in most of those cases, they're just kind of trying to wring out the towel a little bit more than they should, for lack of a better analogy. And in a lot of cases, they're just they're wringing out a little bit more money out of the system than they should. And when the IRS goes in to audit them, they're just taking a little bit more money out of their taxes than they should, and they're just not paying as much taxes as they should. So yeah, I think that that's pretty fair. So they get audited, and in some cases, the IRS says, no, you were supposed to pay a little bit more. You shouldn't get this, that, or the other thing. I think most people would agree with that. We're talking about corporations that make billions of dollars, billions of dollars. Inflation hasn't peaked yet because rents are still rising fast. Let me know, have you seen this? Are you still seeing rents rising fast in your area? Here's what we're seeing. Here's the details. There was no inflation in July, the government said Wednesday. That's great news. It's a really kind of slightly misleading headline. Um, one of the indicators was the inflation for July was 0.0, which means it didn't go up and it didn't go down for July, which is a really kind of misleading headline. That's because gas went down, but food went up, rent's going up. It's really misleading. Yeah, you can let me know your thoughts on there. But it's not time to break out the champagne. Inflation isn't whipped yet. Yeah. Plunging gasoline prices, which are down like 57 days in a row now. Gas average is now down to $3.99 a gallon in the U.S. In a lot of places, it's a lot lower. Um, as a result, the consumer price index was unchanged for the month. Core CPI, which excludes volatile food and energy, rose 0.3%, largely because rent prices kept going up, although at a slightly slower pace than in June. You could see here on this graph, this is as large as I can make it, these shelter prices here still accelerating. You can see how much rent prices have gone up here this year. really a dramatic rise in shelter prices, gone up dramatically here this year. Yeah, rents have a lot of upward momentum right now, which means the CPI has a lot of upward momentum as well. Housing prices have risen more than 20% in the past year, but it takes 12 to 18 months for changes in home prices to show up in CPI data, which are based on observation of rents, not sales prices. For now, rent prices are on fire. Over the past 3 months, CPI for shelter has risen at 7.3% annualized rate, the fastest increase since 1990, which is 32 years. Ultimately, rents should return to a more 3% pace, but the immediate impact of the Federal Reserve's rate increases is pushing rents higher as would-be homebuyers are priced out of ownership and forced to compete with other renters for a tight supply of homes for rent. You could see this headline here from the Washington Post. Rent inflation drives call for White House to do more for tenants. Will we see this again here as we've had rent assistance, mortgage assistance, and utility assistance here? Will we see even more coming here in the future? A new set of proposals shared with the Washington Post calls on the Biden administration to declare a state of emergency on housing and explore ways to regulate rents. The proposals span 6 government agencies and are intended to push federal regulators to consider new ways to curb rent costs, which were up 5.8% in June compared with the year before. Overall prices are up 9.1% compared with last year, and inflation remains the top economic problem facing households. In recent months, the Biden administration has come under enormous pressure to find any means of slashing gas prices, another way major people feel inflation in their daily lives. Quote, we urge the president to act immediately and regulate rents as part of the administration's efforts to curb inflation and as a critical foundation for long-term protections to correct the imbalance of power between tenants and their landlords. White House officials touted previous progress under the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, which propped up under the pandemic programs staved off a wave of evictions under the previous federal eviction moratorium, which now is no longer in place, which included $40 billion out of a $46 billion pot, which has now been pretty much spent. Redfin data shows that in May, the median asking rent in the United States surpassed $2,000 for the first time, with rental increases spanning the nation. So I'll keep you up to date here with this development. Remember that we did have over $40 billion in rent assistance that went out, and also $9.9 billion in homeowners assistance. I have links for you guys down below in the description of this video if you want to watch videos on how to get some of that. If some money still might be available for that. Also for utility assistance, the money for that is available here as well. I have links in the description of this video showing you how to get that. To open the description, you just click the down arrow right next to the title of this video. It's completely free to watch those videos and to apply for those. Those are government programs from the last stimulus package. And also there could be more coming here as well. We also had the eviction moratorium. We also had the rent assistance pandemic program, the homeowners program, and then we had the homeowners payments where you didn't have to pay your payment for like a year through the pandemic as well. Will we see more of this going forward here? So I'll keep you up to date here on a lot of this as we see more of this development here. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to click the bell icon after you subscribe so you get notifications. And don't forget to hit the like button for us as well. You can click here to watch my newest video on Social Security raises, and you can click here to see my new video on stimulus checks that are going out to millions of people. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.